Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to this big match preview on Back of the Net. Well, I say big. Is it big? Maybe. I'm Sam Davis.
I'm Tom Jordan.
This is Back of the Net. We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel. Bournemouth are entertaining Gary O'Neill's Wolves on Saturday at 3 p.m. Gary O'Neill, why does that name ring a bell?
He's our saviour, mate. He's our saviour. He kept us up. Miracle worker. Now, yeah, obviously, it's such a storyline in it. We'll go into it, but the fact that it feels like a bit of a must-win. I mean, it's not. Let's be honest, because we win every other game. Doesn't matter, does it? But yeah, that cliche seems to be around, and the fact that it's our old manager coming back.
Yeah.
It would be fitting if Andoni could get his first win against the manager he preceded. Would be great. But yeah, be an interesting one, mate. But I'm looking forward to getting back in there, mate. International break's gone. Let's crack on and get some wins on the board.
Let's get some wins on the board. Yeah, England have qualified. Scotland have qualified. It's all going on. Wales could do it as well.
They could, mate. Yeah, put 3 Bournemouth players in the starting lineup and they were right. It was, yeah, I think there was an assist in there for Brooksy. Kiefer Moore got 2 in the friendly as well, didn't he? So, yeah, I think we had a decent international break actually, looking at it briefly.
Been superb. If you're brand new to the channel, if you're a Wolves fan or a Bournemouth fan or a neutral and you want to keep abreast of what's going on at Dean Court and beyond, it's not just AFC Bournemouth we cover, we do a Premier League show as well. There's a little thumbs up button you can press, but also a big fat juicy red one.
Oh yeah, big fat and juicy. Subscribe button, click that, we really appreciate it. And yeah, as Sam says, there's a Premier League show. If we go to your ground, we're doing a away day show. There's loads of content on there, so yeah, really appreciate it if you can click the subscribe.
If you check the league table, Gary O'Neill, is he having the last laugh? Look, there they are in 14th place. AFC Bournemouth, lowly AFC Bournemouth, are in 19th place. And it's fair to say that the pressure is on Andoni Iraola. He hasn't got a win yet. We're one of 2 clubs in the Premier League not to get the win just yet. And it's fair to say, Tom, that there's not exactly the feel-good vibe around the club, is there? Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. Yeah. There's a bit of tension. So it feels like all the pressure's being directed to this one game. So I'm sure he feels it, not least because of the previous 2 performances by Bournemouth. Against Arsenal, you can justify it maybe. Yeah. Your Champions League material, they're going to be pushing for the title. Against Everton, though, as hot and cold as they've been, you can't really justify a performance like that. So a reaction is definitely needed.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And it's, yeah, you never know if, you're putting all loads of pressure on one football match. You don't know if that will work to our advantage or not. I feel last season when there was a few kind of big moments and big games, we actually done well in them. So hopefully, the crowd can help. But yeah, it's a difficult one because you look at it in black and white terms, you can go, we haven't won a football match. Of course, there's pressure. But then equally, you could go, it's very early in the season. We've really, if every neutral predicted every game, would there have been many that predicted us to have won them individual games? Probably not. I think the main concern was that one game against Everton where it was so poor and we got beat so comfortably. They probably could have scored more. Everton obviously deserve credit as well. I think there's been a lot of talk about they probably should have more points than they've got, and we were on the end of them actually finishing their chances. But yeah, it just feels like we always knew that once we got to that Everton game, right, let's see where we are now after kind of a bulk of 3. And this is the one sandwich in the middle with Burnley next. And the fact that we got beat so comfortably at Everton has put a hell of a lot of pressure on this game. The added thing with Gary O'Neill, of course. The added thing that we'd like to think that will be in and around Wolves this season. So yeah, there's a lot of things aiming pressure towards this game, mate. It's a weird one because it feels must win, but of course it isn't must win. But if we lose this game, I don't want to think about it too much. You start to really wonder then, and then you start looking at you said about off the pitch and the owners and kind of what their direction is of the football club. Will they press the panic button? There'll certainly be a little bit of panic around, in my opinion. And then you start looking at, will Bill Foley go, Hughesy, you told me this guy's what's going on here? And then there's a bit of, is everyone aligned behind the scenes? And then there's a bit of a worry. But on the football pitch, we just got to go out there and try and win the game. And I think, importantly as well, actually show, which there were signs earlier in the season of this new philosophy and new style and attacking impetus. We got to show that again because the last 2, that's been non-existent for me.
Yeah, and I did question in the last second look that we did, when we started the game against Everton, we only had one of the players that was signed to specifically play this brand of football. So the other 10 that we had were playing Gary O'Neill ball, which is a pragmatic and purposeful style, and we're not saying it's bad. It gets results in big games. I think Wolves fans have probably got the same feelings as we have. We had peaks and troughs with Gary in that we got so frustrated after playing like Crystal Palace or, even Wolves themselves, West Ham, and their other side, Southampton at home, where we dropped points, even when he was interim, when he was permanent. We had these matches against I'd say the winnable games that we didn't get results from. And then against Spurs, against Liverpool, we would get results. And I think it sort of tallies with them, with what they did against Manchester City. And you know what? That result for me, I kind of enjoyed the fact that Gary O'Neill got that result, because it makes the Premier League what it is. And it makes me think, you know what? That's what makes the league special. And it's nice to see that these teams can be susceptible. So in a couple of weeks' time, when we go up to the Etihad, it's not necessarily a dead game before we kick the ball. We have got a chance to get a result. But when they've struggled is playing teams like us at the moment. So maybe this will work in our favour, but he's got a point to prove. But then, so have we. Look, this is AFC Bournemouth's worst start to the season since the Great Escape season, the first Great Escape season back in 1994-95 that Mel eventually took over and steered us to safety. So will it be a Great Escape season for Bournemouth this year? Well, we hope not. We hopefully will be doing better than the league position that we finished in last season. But let's talk about Wolves, Tom. Their fans were not overly happy when Lopetegui went. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and then rumours of this Gary O'Neill, and they weren't overly enamoured by the potential appointment of this man, but it's fair to say they got behind him as soon as he was announced, which is natural.
Yeah, and I think, listen, I feel for Gary, because it's not his fault. They've got rid of or lost a manager that's managed at the highest level. He's managed Real Madrid, for God's sake. So anyone coming in is going to, and then you get a manager that's barely managed, only Bournemouth. So I could see why they were a little bit concerned. And it's kind of, as we said, the City result was special for him. And that was, credit to Gary and Wolves for that. But I think in general, it's been very similar when I've looked online to what we were saying. Like, okay, there's bits and you think, okay, he's managed to grind that out. But then there's other stuff where they get a little bit frustrated with how they could be a bit too pragmatic at times and want to let the shackles off a bit more. And that just comes down to opinions, I always think. I personally, there's a long way to go. I prefer watching entertaining style of football with the players we got. I think we should have enough and should be able to do that. I probably think the same with Wolves. And Gary O'Neill was a little bit more pragmatic, but there's certain people that quite like that approach of being hard to beat. And don't get me wrong, there was games last season, even Wolves away, funnily enough, where we grounded out a 1-0 win, and they were important for us. We done it at home to Liverpool, for God's sake. But there's other games where you think, if you just let the shackles off a bit more, and that's just the way it is. He's a completely different style of manager. That goes into what we've spoken about with Andoni. He's had to go in to a club with new players coming over to the country for the first time and saying, right, everything that you were told last season that kept you up, forget that, because we're going to play the complete opposite. And that's always going to take time. But from Wolves' point of view, I think they are as they'd expect. I think they wouldn't have expected the 3 points off City, but they probably maybe would have expected it elsewhere. It's taken a little bit of time, but some of their star players, Neto in particular, I think Hwang's come in and done really well as well for them lately, have shown up and they've managed to be all right. And you look at their squad and you think, it's kind of where I'd expect them to be. So I think they're kind of, at the moment, thinking it's going to go a bit like that with them, with O'Neill and with the squad they've got. But they'll be content. I don't think they'll be over the moon, but I don't think they'll be gutted with how they've started either. So, I think they're a tough team. They're a side that I think will be consistently inconsistent throughout.
He's got him playing this pragmatic style, and sometimes it can be described as pessimistic. However, do you think at Wolves the difference is that he just does have that extra sprinkling of star quality? Because I mean, Neto is world class, and Hwang on the other side has hit the ground running really well. I mean, you saw Neto tear Man City apart, and he's done so well, and he's a game changer. It could be actually a tale of two Netos in this game, but we'll come on to our Neto shortly. But maybe he's just got that little bit more that it means he can, do what he's good at. But then when they need to attack, they've got that star quality. Yeah,
I think a little bit of it happened. You could argue they probably got more quality in terms of Neto, but I think last season it was similar. He made us hard to break down at times, and then he was reliant on a Tavernier doing a bit of magic, Billing popping up with a bit of magic. You know, I can think of games straight away. I can think of Wolves away, I can think of Southampton away, Leicester away, where we weren't brilliant, but he knew maybe, you know, you could argue it was clever, that it was frustrating at times for us because we felt, oh, come on, we could kill these off, but maybe he did think, you know, if we're hard to beat, people like your Taverniers and your Billings can do enough, and that's what's happened with Neto in particular for Wolves. So, yeah, maybe it is intelligent from him, but and maybe he'll start to adapt as he goes, because at the moment he hasn't been able to bring in loads of his own players, so he's working with a group that he doesn't know an awful lot about. But yeah, I think there are similarities in that sense, but Neto is certainly a key component to that, and they have got players, to his credit, whereas I felt that with us, we weren't good enough to just sit back at times. I think with them, I think Kilman, Dawson, you know, they're solid centre-halves that you could kind of trust defensively to be quite organised. So yeah, I kind of can see the approach that he's done there, and they've got some good players though, mate. I think Cunha as well leads the line, is very Solanke-esque in his work rate. Probably don't get the goals, but is a talented player.
That leads us on to having a look at what they did in the transfer window. And you mentioned Cunha. Where did he come from? Was it La Liga?
Atletico Madrid, yeah, I think
That's right.
they triggered I think they had to sign him for, I think it was about 50 million, wasn't it? So a lot of money. They got him in last season, but I think it was officially over the line. And he brought in, I think it's Bellegarde, who's been out. I think he got sent off the other week. I think he's back for this one. Haven't seen a lot of him. Traore looks like a decent player in midfield. Feels like Traore's at every club, doesn't there? We've got our own. Obviously, Doherty's come through the door, who's been there before. So I think Tommy Doyle as well on loan. So they got a few bits in. Obviously, lost a few as well. I know Cody was out on loan last season, but he's ended up going to Leicester. And Neves and Nunes, to lose them two in the middle of the park was always going to be difficult.
Well, that's why we thought they would struggle, because there's two huge losses.
Yeah, massive losses. They've been huge for them in the middle of the park, and then Moutinho as well. So they've had to kind of look at that middle of the park and address things. I think they've done it pretty well in terms of, I think Lemina's still a good player. I think he's out for our game, which is big. But they still had a few bodies in there. But yeah, losing Nunes and Neves was always going to be key. But they've got over 100 million with them two, so they can always attack things in January maybe a little bit. I'm not sure what the finances there are like, but they've managed to recoup a bit of money there. So yeah, they've lost some key players and they're doing okay. So I think they'll be relatively happy.
Let's check out the Wolves' results then this season. And it's fair to say, in terms of the football they played at Old Trafford, it was fantastic. Now, you could probably put this into a little bit of context with how badly Manchester United have started the season, really. I mean, if you look at the league table, they're about halfway. But really, some of the football they've been playing isn't particularly great. And Wolves, to their credit, absolutely dominated. But just thanks to a dodgy decision, he was feeling very hard done by, Gary Neal, come the end of it, losing 1-0. But then they got a beating at the hands of the Seagulls, Tom.
Yeah, and that can happen to anyone, can't it? We know that. And Brighton were just a little bit too good for them, similar to ourselves against Brighton and many teams, I think. You can get caught at Brighton. It wasn't the end of the world for them. And as you say, that 1-0 against Man United, they were very unfortunate. But then I thought it almost flipped, because when they went to Everton, they were probably lucky to get the 1-0. Yeah. So probably evened itself out a little bit. They've done all right in the cup, didn't they? I think they slapped up Blackpool. Yeah. And the Palace game I actually watched. I think we spoke about it on one of our Premier League shows, but I think it was a Sunday, because I remember sitting and watching it. Yeah, and they got themselves back into the game, and you thought Wolves looked like the team to win this, and it felt like I've seen that before. Yeah. Is they kind of dropped back, set pieces, etc. And that was when the Wolves fans started getting a little bit frustrated, because then they played Liverpool, and same again, where they took the lead, playing brilliantly. And it was the same. They sat deep again, and Liverpool killed them off. And I thought, that was same old. Luton won. Yeah, disappointing to draw at Luton, but context, they did go down to 10 men. And that was a bit of Neto magic, wasn't it, in that game? They obviously went out of the cup, and I think they were 2-0 up, which we had a bit of banter about, because we lost a few 2-0 leads with Gary. But bounced back with two really good results. The win at City, obviously, we've spoken about. And the Villa one, I thought that was a good time to play, and Villa had just played in Europe. But to Wolves' credit, earned the point probably, and that's a big point against Villa, and a bit of a rivalry there as well. So yeah, they've probably picked up. It's probably not ideal to play them, because they've got a few good results in the league really of late, and it'll be a tough one, mate. But I suppose this season, you're playing Bournemouth. Everyone thinks they can get something off us.
Yeah, huge. Let's check out the head-to-head then.
What is our head-to-head like?
Looks like we've played them only 8 times this century, and on the whole, it's actually not looking too bad.
I was going to say, it feels like there can't be a lot in it, because I remember our first ever promotion season to the Premier League. And I remember always thinking, when I think back to that season, there's obviously some big wins for us in there. The 2 against Wolves. Yeah, huge. I think Benick scored for Wolves at our place.
Yes, he did.
Benick
Yeah,
who ended up coming to us. And I think Kermorgant got 2 in that game. But I remember the one away from home was absolute limbs. We scored quite late. I think they went down to 9 men in the end. Really, 2 really good games against Wolves, which helped us. But so I feel like I've been to Wolves a few times and seen good results. So head-to-heads can't be too bad. But they beat us. Was it like COVID time? I remember they beat us just before COVID. We had, I think Jimenez scored a header. So it's been up and down, but it looks all right. Yeah, not too bad actually.
In fact, was it Wolves we played the first game after Scott Parker was sacked last season?
Yes, the 0-0 draw.
It was a 0-0, and it was a dull 0-0.
Yeah.
Hence, there's been no highlights montage that we would usually put at the start of one of our preview shows. But as Tom said, we did get the win at their place.
It was O'Neill's first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
The irony, it's weird, isn't it?
it's so strange the way it all works.
But
out.
yeah, at the time it was a boring game. But I remember at the time being pretty happy because we just lost 9-0. So to come in and then keep a clean sheet. In a few days later, it felt like, right, that steadied the ship a little bit. So yeah, Gary, to his credit, that was a decent first result for us.
In all our home games against Wolves, Bournemouth have won 2, drawn 3, lost 1. So that's a bonus. In all competitions, Bournemouth have won 7, drawn 4, lost 5.
Hello.
So there's a reason to be excited. Do you think Gary O'Neill is going to be more motivated? Because he must feel a bit hard done by with the way that he was removed from his position.
A little bit. I think originally he definitely would have been, and I wouldn't blame him for that at all. He was told to come in and keep the boys up, and that's exactly what he did. And then he's thinking, right, I'm going to have some money to spend. I can start my career as a manager now. And then suddenly we decide to go elsewhere. I think now he won't be too bothered because he's ended up getting a bloody good job, arguably a better job, just by doing what he did for us, and the things that transpired at Wolves, and he's probably happy now that we let him go, and he's got a really good job. So I don't think he'll be too bitter now. But I think there will be a little edge to him. He won't say it, I'm sure, but I'm sure he'll be thinking, I wouldn't mind coming back here, getting a win, and going, it was your decision. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't blame him at all. I've always thought it's a bit strange that we've heard from the outside it was kind of Hughes that went to Foley and said about Andoni Iraola. Hughes played with O'Neill, so you'd think they'd have a good relationship, which I'm sure they do. But it was a big move from Hughes if that was the case. But there'll probably be a tiny little bit of an edge for Gary. But he's not gonna. He knows he's not gonna come out and get booed by the fans or anything. He kept us up, and from his point of view, he'll just want to come out and get a positive result for Wolves, because they don't really, as much as they don't want to be looking over their shoulder too much, and I think they'll have enough. They don't want to be. They go and give Bournemouth their first 3 points, and suddenly it looks a bit tighter for them. He knows that suddenly then the win at Man City seems a bit like, well, what's the point if you go to Bournemouth and lose? So I think he'll more just be focused on winning this game, mate.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in darts when you win against the throw. And then you just go and lose the next leg. It's just like, just chucking it away. So, but honestly, it's going to be so interesting to see how we play and how Andoni Iraola deals with it, and indeed what players are available to him. Now, I did an article on the BBC website that probably explains my analogy a little better in terms of being a cook and needing the right ingredients. And if you're without one of the main ingredients, sometimes you've got to chuck other ingredients in to try to make it up, but sometimes it doesn't work because that is the linchpin ingredient. And
you love this cooking stuff, don't you?
I do.
You have been cooking a bit lately, haven't you? I've heard on the grapevine you've been doing a bit of...
I love it all. But the thing is, though, I just feel as though the lack of Tyler Adams, who's not going to come back for a while, but Alex Scott, who has been training, but he's not going to be...
I wouldn't have thought so. No, I'd be very surprised. You never know. He could maybe whack him on the bench, but I'd be surprised. He's had a fair while out, and I think it was good to probably get him into training. But you don't know. Obviously, when there's international duty as well, quite a lot are away, and you wonder if training's taken a little bit differently because there's less bodies around, and you don't know. You only see in pictures. You don't know how much he's involved, etc. But he's obviously on the grass and obviously getting back to fitness, which is key. But I think we saw quite quickly with Tyler Adams, we gave him 20 minutes, and he's out now for ages. I think we'll be careful. I think we will be careful. And listen, as much as we want Alex Scott back and obviously Tyler Adams, I think we've got bodies in there now with Rothwell, Cook, both available as well that can sit a bit deeper. I don't think he'll rush him back. I think you've got to be thinking a little bit long term with a young player like Alex. But yeah, apart from that, I think the players that have gone away seem to have come back okay, got some good minutes. I think it was Zabani was the one that got the most minutes. I think he played every kick. Kirk has played a lot and come off, but I think everyone's all right. And actually, looking at it, I think even, by the way, a little shout out, Mariah Welsh scored for Guyana on international duty. People forget about him, but he's just come back from injury in our kind of academy, if you like, and he got a goal. And I think, looking at the general gist of it, I think Ouattara might have played 180 as well. They all seem to play good minutes and all do quite well. Yeah. So that's a nice little boost, I think. You always want, and you think of like the Welsh trio that are coming back, probably a spring in their step. They didn't expect, they probably think they were going to come back with their qualifying in tatters, and now they could be favourites after beating Croatia. So, yeah, we got to look at them little positives, and their team news, few suspensions in there that will help us. Definitely.
Oh, interesting. Okay, looking forward to seeing this. And we've got options. We've got options. There are players starting to come back, and look, we're starting to build up our strength on the bench again. I mean, we've even got another keeper if we need him. But this Neto v Neto thing, look, Pedro Neto for Wolves, superb. Yes. And this could be a tale of Neto being the difference, one or the other, because it's not been just Bournemouth fans that have said it. Neutrals have. Wolves fans have been messaging me saying, what's going on with your keeper? I mean, some of the mistakes he was making against Everton, it's important. He's going to be picked.
Of course.
He's going to be picked. He's club captain. But it's so vital. Sometimes you just need them to have a worldie of a game. When Lloyd Kelly came back against Chelsea, I thought it was astounding. It's just so unfortunate that he got injured when he did. Hopefully he's kind of back in contention. We don't know. Neto, it's vital that he has a big game for Bournemouth. Yeah,
it's like just something silly, like an early catch, an early save, just to get his call. Because I think, listen, let's remember that when Gary first came in for us, one of the first things he did, obviously we lost 9-0 at Liverpool, was he brought Neto in instead of Travers. And we didn't feel like Travers had done anything really wrong, but he brought Neto in. You thought, I get it, experience, blah, blah. And Neto settled us down. And suddenly you felt like it was no disrespect to Travers, but you did feel like suddenly the defence felt a bit more comfortable. They got experienced guys. So Neto's done this. Yeah. He's come in pressure moments and made us, I thought last season, he was up there for player of the season. It just in more in terms of, not necessarily his goalkeeping, but just the way he helped us leadership-wise, made everything a bit calmer, because we didn't have a young, inexperienced goalkeeper. For some reason this season, it's gone completely the opposite way, where I feel like the defence, he's not sure on the defence aren't sure on him. I'm worried every time a ball goes in the box.
Yeah, agreed.
Which, is a bit of a concern. And suddenly now we're going, I'm a bit worried that that we haven't got another goalkeeper that we feel could step in. I mean, listen, I don't know an awful lot about Radu, but the fact that Romania, who are not that good, by the way, he wasn't in their three keepers on international duty. That's a concern for me. I don't know what the situation is there. Maybe it is just because he's not playing, but still. But as I say, all it needs is, early ball in the box, he comes and claims it, or he makes a little point-blank save, everyone chants his name, and he just gets it going again. You don't want like an early cross that he fumbles and everyone gets a bit tetchy. And it was a good point you made about Lloyd Kelly, mate. When he come back in, everyone's talking about it, and he has a stormer, and everything's kind of calmed down again, and you forget the fact that he made a few errors last season or whatever. So I'm still confident that listen, this is not a young lad. He's experienced. He's, he showed his leadership. He's played at the highest level, at some of the biggest clubs in the world. Yeah. This guy is he's not a player that I think is going to be all worried. He should be thinking, I'm one of the most experienced guys here. I'm the leader. I'm the captain. Come in last season and help keep us up. I've had a bad start of the season. I'll step up. Don't worry about it, and I'll show the fans that I've just had a bit of a blip. So yeah, I'm hopeful, mate. And listen, all it takes, like I say, mate, a few decent saves, clean sheet, and we'll forget it very, very quickly.
Do you want some team news? Do ya? Here it is. Oh, there you go. We treat you. But hang on, before we get to the Bournemouth team news, what's this about a couple of Wolves players not being available?
Yeah, it does look like the case, mate. Obviously, Lamina suspended after he got sent off at Villa, didn't he? Yeah. Which is good for us. It's a bit of a shame because he's an ex-Scummer, so it's always nice to have a chance Scummer at someone. And also, it's a weird one because a lot of people have been saying, is it true about, because Semedo, the right back, officially on the Premier League, for some reason it's down as he's only had 4. Yeah. But I looked into it and he is suspended. Right. He is suspended for the game. I think there was one that wasn't put down as him, or it might be a cup game or something a bit weird. but he is on his fifth. He is out. I did look, and there was a Wolves reporter, so I can't remember the name, that said he will miss this one as well. So there's a couple of suspensions there. Bueno, I think, still going to be out with his hamstring injury. I think he had, which will they'll struggle with that depth as well because Bueno can come in out of the team. I think Bellegarde, I think we mentioned it earlier. I think it might have been one of O'Neill's, if not his first signing for him. He looks like he'll be back now because he was suspended because it was 3 games ago, wasn't it, against Luton. Right. So he'll be back. So he could be involved. Not sure if he'll start or not. He's still new, but he's someone they've got high hopes for. But yeah, a few suspensions, mate. And Lamina and Semedo, you would put in your starting 11, I think, for Wolves. So whether you think it's not Neto, it's not Hwang, but they're players that start for them. So we've got to take that. That's helpful for us for sure, and hopefully we're in an all right place, barring the obvious in Tyler Adams.
Yeah, that's right. And we know that Philip Billing, he picked up a knock during the Everton game and he pulled out of the Denmark squad. But you've been updated at the bottom of the screen as to how he is. Of course, Chris Mepham, we know that he fielded for Wales as well, and Lloyd Kelly as well. Obviously praying and hoping he will be available. Whether he'd go straight in there, we don't know. Tom will do his teams very shortly. Do you want to know who the referee is?
No. Oh, you want me to be excited about this now? Yeah, please, let me know who the referee is, because I'm sure we'll have a cracking game, because the officials have been brilliant at the moment. And if not, we've got VAR, which always sorts things out. Carry on.
Paul Tierney.
Why did you smile? Is that good?
We had him last season at home against Manchester City.
Did he make any bad? Nah, he didn't. It's fine.
It's Manchester City.
Yeah, was that it last season?
Yeah, it was all right. We had him once last season.
It's not exciting then, is it? So we got 100% defeat record with him. Great.
Before we do the team, just want to do a big shout out to Ben Phillips, back of the nets, Ben Phillips, TikTok Terrier. Follow him at AFCB Podcast. One of the TikToks near like 6,000.
Well, yeah.
Honestly, it's outgrowing the rate of this YouTube channel itself.
The youth of today, mate. I feel so old.
Yeah, I don't know how they do half the things he does. He just puts out TikTok like 50,000 views. How do you do that, Ben?
Don't know, mate.
It takes me time and effort to get those kind of numbers, but Ben just like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just do some stuff. Yeah, done. Anyway, he's going to be sleeping rough tonight for Ferndown Upper School's Sleep Easy 2023. He's taking part in a big sleep event at his school where he's going to be sleeping outside for the night in a cardboard box in the aim to raise some money for the homeless through the YMCA Bournemouth charity. Ben, brilliant stuff for you. If you can donate, he had a modest kind of target.
Yeah, I thought that.
He smashed it, but we want to just raise as much money as we possibly can. Go to afcbpodcast.com/sleep easy, all one word. That's afcbpodcast.com/sleep easy. We've had some donations. Thank you so much to Lois, to Ash. We've had Tommy G.
It's literally my name. I'm sat next to you.
Jeff, Darren Bryant, Anne Harris, Amy and family, Sarah, loads more, Simon Kay as well, Will Size, Sonny. Honestly, your donations are huge and it's a great fundraiser, and hopefully you'll be catching up with him on the match day vlog, which will be out on Sunday morning. And I've got news for you, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing the vlog.
I've heard the rumours.
No, I'm not going to be there.
I've heard the rumours.
I'm not at the game.
What I will say is...
I'm at a wedding.
Yeah, I don't care why you're there. I hope it's awful.
What, the wedding?
Yeah, no. I hope it's... do I know who's getting married? Do I know him?
No.
Couldn't give a shit. Right, I hope you have an awful day, because I'm not happy about it. But what I will say, Bournemouth fans out there, I remember a game you didn't go to last season.
Yeah.
Villa at home.
I also did go to Crystal Palace at home because of illness as well.
But you didn't go to Villa at home. So the last time you didn't go to a game against a team from the Midlands, there we go. We won 2-0. That's all I'm saying.
However,
but nice of you to not go to the game on the weekend closest to my birthday as well. So
what if we get a result though? Everyone in the comments is going to be like, Sam, you can't go to the next game. You can't go to the next game. And then it'll be Burnley. If I don't go to that game, Sam, you can't go. I just won't go for the rest of the season then.
No. If we win, we'll set up I'll set up some sort of like petition. You will not be going to Burnley if we win. Fact. But so we'll still be doing fan cams, all that good stuff, won't we?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for us. I'm a bit nervous. I'm going to do as minimal as possible and let the TikTok man, let Tiggs, let them do it. Let them have their day. I'm going to have a little chill, pretend I'm at the wedding as well.
Yeah.
But we'll still try and get all the content out without our main man.
So we'll be doing all the stuff, and Ben, if he'll be half awake, and you know what, fantastic to raise awareness in that way. I mean, what a time of year to be doing it.
Oh, the weather's going to be hideous. So fair play.
Obviously,
mate.
it's
highlighting
a cause, and afcbpodcast.com/sleep easy if you want to donate to Ben's Just Giving page. We'd truly appreciate it. Okay, let's do the teams.
Ooh.
Righty ho, here we go then. We've got the teams in front of us, and we'll start off with AFC Bournemouth, and it looks like the classic 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, difficult to. I think I've said this before. I always find it difficult after an international break because you always hear some might be back, and you never know who's as fit as others and who comes back better. For example, just going ahead, I was thinking of say Sinisterra might get his first start, but I'm going, he's been out in South America. Do you know what I mean? It's just would he have been in less days than the others? All them sort of things come into play, but I'll give it a crack. As you mentioned, I'll keep Neto in goal. Back four, I know they've been struggling, and we don't know what the situation's going to be with Kelly and Mepham. I think Aarons will come back in at right back. Obviously, Smithy started the last one. And I think he'll stick with Zabani and Salesi and Kirkes at left back. Kirkes going to have a game if he's up against Neto, by the way. But I think they'll stick with that four. Wouldn't shock me if Mepham or Kelly come in, but I think he'll stick with that. I think he's got to now look at it and go, I need Cook and Rothwell both in there.
Yeah.
I think we've tried Billing deeper. Hasn't worked. We need to get the best out of Billing. We need to put him higher, and it's not Christie's fault. But Christie's also been away and playing, whereas, as you said, Billing didn't go, nor did obviously Rothwell and Cook. So could be a time to try that. So I'm going to go Cook and Rothwell as the two in the middle with Billing higher up in that kind of 10 role where it suits him best. Tavernier's got to play. I think he'll play off the right. And I think Kluivert will come back in and play off that left. I think he'll try and go with, your kind of two players coming in off that side, and he keeps mixing up that side, but Dango Ouattara didn't do enough for me at Everton. I thought he was poor. As I mentioned, Sinisterra, just because he's been away. I thought the same with Semenyo, he's been out in Africa. So just try to put everything in. I think Kluivert might be the freshest. I think he might try that. I would quite like to see Brooks, but I think that means Tavernier goes to the left.
Yeah, agreed.
You could make a case to say, if Tavernier's on the left, that might help Kirkes against Neto.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm also thinking, with Semedo out for them on that right side, Kluivert will be up against a right back that hasn't been starting. Could be good for him. Obviously, Dom Solanke will lead the line.
Yeah. Okay, and as for Wolves then, looks like we've got a 3-4-3?
Yeah, I'd kind of call it a 3-4-3. He's gone into that three at the back, O'Neill of late, and it seems to be working okay for them. Obviously, they've got some players out, as you mentioned, suspended. But I think the back threes look strong for them, and I think they're going to stick with that. Obviously, Sarr being goal. Good goalkeeper, by the way. Max Kilman, Craig Dawson and Totti as the back three have been very good for them. Aït-Nouri will continue at left wing back. And I think they're going to have to bring Doherty in, who's experienced. They've been playing Semedo, but Doherty will come in. He's natural as a right wing back. So they'll be fine there. Gomez has been looking good for him in the middle of the park, so he'll stick in. Obviously, they lose Lamina. I was thinking about Bellegarde because he's back, but I'm going to go Traore just because I think he'll be a little bit more defensively sound. So I think they'll start with him, but it could be Bellegarde. But I'll go with Traore. And then I think the front three picks itself for him at the moment. Neto off that right side. Wang, who's been brilliant. He has been erect. Wang has been erect lately. He's been standing up and paying attention. And Cunha through the middle. So that's what concerns us the most. I think that three up top and then three centre-halves are very strong. So I think we need to win that battle in midfield. I think could be key without Lamina. And that's where I think Cook and Rothwell in there, I think we could be all right.
When you said Traore is defensively sound, I was like, what? But then I realised it's the other one.
Yeah,
the other one's gone to Fulham, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, there's Traore's everywhere. Even we've got one.
They are everywhere. So there we go. Those are the teams. Right.
Nervous.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? You don't have to. Oh, you do? Prediction time. Okay. Comment down below. There's a little line. Type away. Put your prediction in there. And Tom, I'll come to you first. I'm worried we'll draw it.
Oh, shut up.
Right,
storylines. A lot of this talking storylines, isn't it? We got a new manager, we're playing against the manager that we got rid of him for. We haven't won yet, and we're playing Gary Neville. All this stuff. Loads of storylines at the moment, right? So this is the last game before my 32nd birthday.
Okay.
Last game before my 32nd birthday. Gary O'Neill, storyline. Wolves are 2-0 up. Bournemouth score 3. 3-2 Bournemouth. 32 on Tuesday I am. It's the storyline. Gary O'Neill 2-0 up at Dean Court. He's done it before and thrown it away. It can happen. I'm just thinking storylines because I honestly, I'm just doing that. Bit of fun, bit of a storyline because I cannot... I think at the moment what's difficult is, and you could probably say the same about Wolves with that City result, but then other results, they haven't looked good. And similarly with us, I know we haven't won a game, but there's been certain signs where you think, oh yeah, we're all right, we got bits. And then you think, God, what, they're awful in the last game. I just find it so difficult to predict. I don't know, if we turn up like we did, say, at Anfield and we started, and I think this is such an easy thing to say, but I think in the last couple, what's hurt us the most, we conceded quite early. And we conceded early, and I think the confidence has drained from the team, and then they've started losing a bit of faith in what they're being asked to do because we keep getting caught. Whereas at Brighton, at Anfield, we scored early and then we kept going for that and we just tailed off. But yeah, I think if we can get an early goal, that'd be massive. But if they get it, they could be a tough nut to crack. That's a difficult one, mate. Are you going for a draw, are you?
I mean, what's also concerning is that one of the best performances where we've managed to get something this season, say like Brentford.
Yeah.
Away, you're looking at how Brentford are now, and you think, well, actually, was it that good? Like, we could do this for every single team, like against Chelsea. Now you're thinking, actually, maybe it was good because they've improved now, but before that, they were trash, and a draw was probably about right. I'm going for AFC Bournemouth 2, Wolverhampton 1.
Oh, mate.
2-1. 2-1 to Bournemouth. That's what I'm going for.
Got to be positive, haven't we? We've got to try.
To be positive.
We've got to try for this one, mate. But yeah, it's going to be a tense one. I hope it's, obviously you're not going to be there, but I'll let you know.
Thanks.
And we'll report back. I hope that
Let me know.
We can get it rocking. We can get a good... There's no point of being, putting all the pressure before the game. There's no point of being a bit... We might as well start the game and go, right, let's give it all we can, 12 man, all that rubbish. And try and get something out of the game, mate. Hopefully 3 points, because it feels big. It does feel big. I am nervous.
Congratulations to Matty and Paige who are getting married. There's going to be a wedding vlog here on Back. Of course, there's not. There will be a matchday vlog, but it's not just that.
I hate weddings.
There's fan cams at full time. Vlog. We'll have a second look on Monday. Premier League show as well. Lots. And maybe a special little video on Wednesday dropping as well. Maybe.
Cool.
Maybe just for you. But yeah, hopefully, when the two come together for a very feisty day.
Mm. Are you trying to make an analogy about wedding and football?
Yeah.
Struggling, aren't you?
Struggling.
Yeah. Either way.
Hopefully Cherries can tie the knot and get 3...
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I'm trying to think of it. Right, come on. Can you just like...
Hopefully Gary O'Neill will be a bell.
That was shocking. That was absolutely shocking. I don't... What do? You walk down the aisle. You do your vow. There's nothing here, is there?
No.
There's nothing there. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on. Forget weddings. I hope it's a great day for them two getting married. But yeah, more importantly, whether the wedding goes well or not, let's get 3 points.
Come on, you Reds. Oh, the Cherries.
Na 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 na.
Don't sing that now.
Oh yeah, what's it?
Gary O'Neill.
Oh, eat paella and that.
Oh yeah, that's it.